Hey everybody, well, have you heard the latest in the news? There is beetle parts and beetle maggots in baby food, uh, in the Simalac baby food, not baby food, but baby formula. Now, they've done a big recall on this, and then there's a lot of people saying, well, why don't women just breastfeed? Well, it was in the news last week. A woman was breastfeeding and got thrown out of a restaurant for doing it. So, you know, it's always going to be something. You never know what's in your food, though. I remember a few years ago when when they did the recall, not Jif, but Peter Pan. I used to buy Jif all the time, and then the reason I quit buying Jif at one point is because it had come out and they was talking about they found rat hair in it. So I said, no, I can't buy Jif anymore. So I started buying Peter Pan, and I eat peanut butter every day, so I buy the big jar. And so I had this big jar of peanut butter, and then it had come on the news for a couple nights in a row about the recall on Peter Pan, and because it only had one company, one factory, and they had found mold in the factory, and they had found a lot of stuff, and you could get salmonella poisoning off of certain jars of it, and they gave a number, and so, like about 3 or 4 nights after seeing this on the news, I said, well, let me go in there and check my Peter Pan peanut butter jar. And I wrote the numbers down. And I went in here and I took the peanut butter out of the cabinet, and the numbers matched. I said, holy God. I'd done ate half that jar of peanut butter, but I couldn't bring myself to eat anymore. I just threw it out. And it took a while before I bought any more peanut butter, and I did not buy Jif. And I did not buy, well, of course, you couldn't find Peter Pan at that time. So I started buying Skippy. And Skippy is okay. Skippy is a little drier than the rest, and I didn't really care for it. So it took like a year, maybe a year and a half before Peter Pan went back on the shelf in the grocery stores. And when it did, I started buying it again because they built a new factory. And so I'm sure they're keeping an eye on their stuff pretty well because, they lost billions of dollars and they do not want to do that again. So I feel pretty confident they're going to keep an eye on their product. And then what about the cat food back several years ago in '05 when they was talking about the cat food being contaminated? And so my kids have a cat. They would only they didn't buy the products that were being recalled. And some of the stores didn't even pull them off the shelf. Some of the stores left them on the shelf. So they always knew what had been talked about and what hadn't. And anyway, my dog at the time, I had a Sheltie, a miniature collie, Sir Duke, and I love Sir Duke. But the only thing that Duke could eat was Alpo. And so they didn't have anything about dog food at the time. So, I felt pretty safe in that. And Duke just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And I finally had to have him put to sleep on my mom's birthday in 2005. He had started to swell and it got stomach tumors and had actually started to stink. And that was just disgusting. At first, when he started to smell, I thought, well, I bathed him once a week anyway, but I started bathing him every day. I said, what is wrong here? And he just got so bloated, and I had to have him put down. And it was right after that they said, they found contaminations in Alpo dog food. And then all these lawsuits started coming up. So I could have probably been a part of that lawsuit, but just let it go. Anyway, but as far as the beetle maggots being in the baby food, how does that happen? How do you have beetle larvae and parts just laying around in the factory? I don't understand. Do we really know what we're putting in our mouths these days? Do we really know? How about that time they recalled spinach, bag spinach? And there was one bag that even had a mouse in it. Now that's disgusting. And I used to buy the lettuce in the bag, and I still do from time to time, but when I do, I'm going to look at it real good and make sure that there's nothing in there. I remember when I was younger, I have found a bug in a can of cream of potato soup. I found 1,000-legger in a can of creamed corn. And my stomach is just so easily turned. And a lot of times when something will turn my stomach, I can still eat beans though. Just put me on a pot of pinto beans and I can still eat. So I'm not going to starve when my stomach gets turned. But anyway, well, that's all I got to say for now. And until next time, bye-bye.